The ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza has reached a critical stage, particularly affecting the most vulnerable segment of the population, children in need of specialized medical treatment. Recent developments indicate that the UK government, led by Sir Keir Starmer, is taking concrete steps to facilitate the evacuation of such children from Gaza to the United Kingdom for urgent medical care. This announcement marks a significant moment in the global response to the crisis and highlights the desperate conditions facing Gazan children. The initiative to evacuate medically vulnerable children has been a long-standing demand from humanitarian organizations and advocacy groups operating in the region. Among these is Project Pure Hope, an organization committed to providing care for children caught in conflict zones across the Middle East. For nearly 2 years, Project Pure Hope has campaigned relentlessly for international intervention that allows critically ill children to leave Gaza and access specialized medical facilities abroad. Where treatments and resources are far more advanced, Raza Halim, the co-founder of Project Pure Hope, has repeatedly emphasized the urgency of this matter. Speaking to journalists, he underscored that time is absolutely of the essence in evacuating these children. According to Halim, 28 children die every single day in Gaza, due to conditions that could be improved or even resolved with proper medical intervention. The scale of these avoidable deaths paints a grim picture of the healthcare crisis in Gaza, exacerbated by blockades, shortages of medicines, and damaged medical infrastructure caused by years of conflict and restricted access. Halim's remarks highlight the tragic fact that many of these deaths are preventable. Often, the global public observes the crisis through media reports showing devastating scenes, evoking feelings of despair and helplessness. Yet behind these reports are real lives that could be saved with immediate action, lives that hinge on international cooperation, logistical planning, and political will. The medical evacuation plan involves complex coordination between various governments, international organizations, and local authorities. It requires ensuring safe passage for the children, arranging necessary medical escorts, and preparing UK hospitals to receive and treat these patients. The challenge is compounded by the ongoing conflict and security concerns, which make movement in and out of Gaza perilous. Furthermore, diplomatic negotiations must secure permissions and guarantees from all relevant parties, including the Israeli government, which controls Gaza's borders. The UK government's acceleration of efforts to facilitate this evacuation signals a humanitarian commitment amidst a politically charged situation. Sir Keir Starmer's government has pledged to do everything we can to assist in these evacuations, reflecting a recognition of the acute medical needs and the moral imperative to act. This intervention represents not just medical assistance, but a broader statement about the UK's role in global humanitarian crises. Simultaneously, the UK government is also working to improve aid delivery to Gaza, following Israel's recent decision to allow foreign countries to airdrop supplies. Starmer criticized this decision as far too late, noting that for months, vital aid was blocked or delayed, worsening the plight of civilians, especially children. The combination of evacuation and supply efforts aims to address both immediate medical emergencies and the ongoing humanitarian needs within Gaza for the families of these children. The opportunity for evacuation offers hope amid the widespread suffering caused by violence, destruction, and scarcity. Children in Gaza face extraordinary barriers to healthcare, including shortages of essential medicines, damaged hospital facilities, lack of clean water, and ongoing insecurity. The evacuation effort is a lifeline for many, giving them a chance to survive, receive proper care, and eventually recover. This initiative also reflects a broader recognition by the international community of the critical situation in Gaza, where civilians, especially children, bear the brunt of conflict consequences. Medical evacuations of children from conflict zones are not unprecedented, but require swift and coordinated international action to succeed. The UK's commitment sets an example that may encourage other countries to follow suit, potentially creating a broader coalition dedicated to saving vulnerable lives. However, significant challenges remain. The evacuation process is logistically demanding and politically sensitive. Negotiations must continue to ensure safe corridors and guarantee the security of patients, medical teams, and support personnel. The number of children who can be evacuated at any one time is limited, and many more remain in need of urgent care. In the meantime, the deteriorating health situation within Gaza calls for immediate scaling up of humanitarian aid, including food, water, and medicines, alongside the evacuation efforts. In summary, the UK government's decision to evacuate children needing specialist medical treatment from Gaza represents a vital humanitarian step amid an escalating crisis. Advocates like Raza Hallam and organizations such as Project Pure Hope have played an instrumental role in bringing attention to this issue, stressing the avoidability of many child deaths with proper care. This ongoing operation underscores the urgency of international cooperation and the pressing need to prioritize the lives of the most vulnerable during conflict. As the situation unfolds, the world watches closely, hoping for swift action and tangible results that will save the lives of Gazan children. The Gaza conflict continues to be shaped not only by on-the-ground realities, but also by a complex web of political narratives, rhetoric, and diplomatic maneuvering. In recent days, tensions have been heightened by statements from various political leaders and factions, reflecting deep divisions and complicating efforts towards ceasefire and peace negotiations. Former US President Donald Trump made headlines with a provocative statement regarding Hamas, the militant group governing Gaza. In a public comment, Trump asserted that Hamas really didn't want to make a deal to halt hostilities, and added controversially that "I think they want to die." His statement implied that military action might need to escalate to finish the job, signaling a hardline approach with little tolerance for negotiations or compromises. This rhetoric from a prominent international figure sent ripples across diplomatic channels. Trump's comments were widely seen as dismissive of the prospects for peace talks and as an endorsement of aggressive military tactics. The implication that Hamas's intent was self-destructive starkly contrasts with international efforts aimed at mediating a ceasefire and addressing humanitarian needs. Hamas swiftly rejected Trump's characterization. The group described his statement as appalling and accused the former US president of ignoring the realities on the ground. Izzat al-Rish, a member of Hamas's political wing, responded by highlighting what they view as the primary barrier to peace: the Israeli government led by Benjamin Netanyahu. According to al-Rishk, Netanyahu's administration continues to put obstacles, deceive, and evade commitments, effectively obstructing any meaningful progress toward an agreement. This claim frames the conflict as one hindered primarily by Israeli policies, rather than the militant group's actions. Hamas insists that since negotiations began, they have engaged with full national responsibility and high flexibility, striving for a comprehensive agreement that would end Israeli aggression and alleviate the suffering of Palestinians. In Gaza, their position is that they are willing to compromise and seek peace, but political obstacles imposed by Israel prevent resolution. The Hamas-run Gaza government media office further underscored the dire humanitarian situation by calling for the unconditional openings of crossings, particularly to facilitate urgent aid like infant formula, which is in critically short supply. This demand reflects the broader struggle over Gaza's borders and the flow of goods, which has a profound impact on daily life for civilians. Israel, on the other hand, maintains that it has allowed sufficient food and medical supplies into Gaza and accuses the United Nations of failing to distribute aid effectively. This accusation highlights a common point of contention: differing perspectives on responsibility and transparency regarding humanitarian access. The international community remains divided on how to respond. While some countries and leaders emphasize humanitarian aid and ceasefire negotiations, others express skepticism about Hamas's willingness to cease hostilities or engage in good faith talks. The harsh rhetoric from figures like Trump complicates the diplomatic landscape, hardening positions and reducing the space for dialogue. In the United Kingdom, Political pressure is mounting on leaders such as Sir Keir Starmer to take a clearer stance on the conflict, especially regarding the recognition of Palestinian statehood. Despite calls from a growing number of MPs and international partners urging recognition as a step toward peace, Starmer's government has so far focused on delivering humanitarian aid and facilitating medical evacuations, avoiding a firm declaration on Palestinian sovereignty. Starmer's response includes strong condemnation of the humanitarian conditions in Gaza, describing scenes of starvation and desperation as appalling. He has spoken about the unacceptable nature of denying aid to children and babies, emphasizing the moral imperative to act. He has also condemned the continued captivity of hostages and the killing of civilians, including children who have died while seeking aid or collecting water. This political balancing act reflects the complexities facing governments worldwide: how to address urgent humanitarian needs without taking steps that might escalate political tensions or jeopardize ongoing diplomatic efforts. Meanwhile, voices within Hamas continued to press their narrative that the Israeli government is the principal obstacle to peace, accusing it of deception and evasion. Their insistence on opening border crossings unconditionally speaks to the desperate conditions in Gaza and the need for sustained aid deliveries without interference. This ongoing exchange of accusations and statements demonstrates the challenges of moving toward peace in an environment of mistrust and conflict. Each side frames the narrative to justify its actions and criticize the other, making it difficult to find common ground. The rhetoric also influences international public opinion and the actions of foreign governments, who must navigate these competing narratives while addressing humanitarian concerns. In summary, the political dynamics surrounding the Gaza conflict are marked by starkly opposing narratives and escalating rhetoric. Statements from influential figures like Donald Trump have hardened stances and complicated peace efforts, while Hamas counters by blaming Israeli policies for the impasse. Meanwhile, international leaders like Sir Keir Starmer focused on humanitarian relief and medical evacuations amid pressure to recognize Palestinian statehood. This intricate web of political maneuvering underscores the deep-rooted and multifaceted nature of the conflict, highlighting the urgent need for dialogue, compromise, and a renewed commitment to peace.